Hi guys, this is O-Level Chemistry, paper 11, June 2020, question 1. The diagram shows four pieces of apparatus that are used to measure the volume of a gas or liquid. Which piece of apparatus should always be filled to the same level? So out of the four given apparatus, the first three, the burette, the gas syringe, and the measuring cylinder have graduations on them, the markings. These markings indicate that they are made to take different volumes of the substances that is put into them. For example, A and C are apparatus for measuring liquids. B is an apparatus for measuring a gas. So in all three of them, variable volumes of gases and liquids can be taken. Whereas in D, there is just a single marking on the pipette. This single marking indicates that this is the maximum volume that can be taken in a pipette which is measurable. So we will always take liquid up until this mark, never below or above it. So this pipette will always be filled to the same level, making option D the correct option for this question. Question 2. Copper sulfate is prepared by reacting excess copper carbonate with dilute sulfuric acid. Which two pieces of apparatus are needed to obtain copper to sulfate crystals by this reaction? Do we need a thermometer? No, we are not checking for the temperature at which precipitation occurs or reaction occurs or anything. So thermometer is not required. Evaporating basin, yes, because in order to obtain the crystal, we need to evaporate the water that is there. Filter funnel, filter funnel will be needed to filter out the excess water and separate the crystals that are formed. And a gas syringe, there is no involvement of gas in this procedure anywhere. So options 2 and 3 are correct. Therefore, option C is the correct option for this question. Question 3. A paper chromatography experiment is carried out to find an RF value for Fe3 positive aqueous. The result is shown. Which row correctly completes gaps 1 and 2? And there's text at the bottom. To make the spot containing Fe3 positive more visible, the paper is sprayed with aqueous sodium hydroxide so that the precipitate of iron 3 hydroxide forms. Okay. Under the conditions of the experiment, the RF value of Fe3 plus is given by, okay, RF value is the distance traveled by the solute upon distance traveled by the solvent. Here, the distance traveled by the solute is given by X and the distance traveled by the solvent is given by Y. So this should be X upon Y. And the color of the precipitate is, now when Fe3 positive aqueous ions are sprayed with NaOH, they form iron 3 hydroxide. The color of iron 3 hydroxide is red brown. So now gap 2 has red brown in options A and C. So we will check for gap 1 in A and C only. In A, we have X upon Y, which is the correct formula for calculating the RF value. And in C, we have Y upon X, which is the inverse of the correct formula. So this makes option A the correct option for this question. Question 4. Aluminium chloride is dissolved in water and the resulting solution is divided between three test tubes. Which row gives the reagents for three tests which could be used to confirm the presence of aluminum chloride? Okay. Aqueous sodium hydroxide. Yes. Aqueous sodium hydroxide. Then we have aqueous ammonia in test tube 2. Yes. And dilute HCl and silver nitrate. Okay. If we are adding dilute HCl, we are introducing chloride ions ourselves. So how will we detect the presence of chloride ion if you are introducing chloride ion? So test tube 3 test is incorrect. B, aqueous sodium hydroxide, yes. Then dilute nitric acid and aqueous silver nitrate, this is for chloride, yes. And then there's a third one in which we add dilute hydrochloric acid. This test will not give any result. And we have not yet confirmed the presence of aluminum because not only aluminum, zinc also dissolves on addition of aqueous sodium hydroxide. So presence of aluminum has not been confirmed. Okay. C. Aqueous ammonia, yes. Dilute nitric acid and aqueous silver nitrate, yes. Nitric acid and barium nitrate. No. The last test is for sulfate ions. This will not test for the presence of chloride or aluminum. And again, aqueous ammonia. Now, in aqueous ammonia, a white precipitate will form which will not dissolve in excess. But that is true for calcium as well. Aluminum and calcium will give the same result. So we have yet not confirmed the presence of aluminum. Okay, and D, aqueous sodium hydroxide, yes. Aqueous ammonia, yes. These two tests will confirm the presence of aluminum ions. Because with sodium hydroxide, a white precipitate forms which dissolves in excess. With ammonia, a white precipitate forms which does not dissolve in excess. And in test tube C, dilute nitric acid followed by aqueous silver nitrate will confirm the presence of chloride ions. So all three tests are correct in option D, making option D the correct option for this question. Question 5. Which statement about methods of purification and analysis is correct? A liquid that boils over a range of temperatures may still be 100% pure? No. A pure liquid boils at a very much fixed temperature. An insoluble substance may be separated from water by crystallization. If it is insoluble, how can its crystal form? It will already be present in the form of a precipitate. Chromatography may only be used to separate colored substance. No. Colorless substances can also be separated and can be detected using locating agents. Liquid air can be fractionally distilled, giving oxygen as one of the products. Yes, and this is how we obtain nitrogen as well for use in the Haber's process. So this makes option D the correct option for this question. Question 6. Which changes in pressure and temperature would both result in a decrease in the volume of a fixed mass of gas? So, volume is directly proportional to temperature and volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So, in order to decrease the volume, we need to decrease the temperature. In order to decrease the volume, we need to increase the pressure. Okay. So, decrease the pressure and decrease the temperature. Decrease the pressure is wrong. Decrease the temperature is correct. Decrease the pressure, which is wrong, and increase the temperature. This is also wrong. Next, increase the pressure, yes, and decrease the temperature, yes. Both of them are correct. And next, increase the pressure, yes, and increase the temperature is wrong. So both values are correct. The both things that we need to do are correct in option C, making C the correct option for this question. Question 7. Which definition of isotopes is correct? Atom of different elements. No, it is atom of the same element. So A and B have been eliminated. Okay, C. Atom of the same element which have different number of electrons. No, different number of electrons is not the correct option. It is different number of neutrons. And the last one, atoms of the same element which have different number of neutrons. Yes, number of electrons and protons are the same in isotopes. So option D is the correct option for this question. Question 8. Which ion has the most shell that contain electrons? Okay, aluminum belongs to period 3, beryllium belongs to period 2, nitrogen belongs to period 2, and sulfur belongs to period 3. Now what happens is, after losing 3 electrons, the outermost shell empties and Al3 positive ion has 2 shells remaining. For Be2 positive, upon losing 2 electrons, the outermost shell becomes empty and Be2 positive ion has only 1 shell remaining. For nitrogen, after gaining 3 electrons, its outermost second shell becomes completely filled. So 2 shells in nitrogen. And for sulfur, after gaining 2 electrons, its third shell completely fills. So there are 3 shells in the S2 negative ion, making option D the correct option for this question. Question 9. Which substance conducts electricity both when solid and when molten? So this is supposed to be a metal. A metal would be able to conduct electricity in the solid and the aqueous states. Okay, an alloy is a metal, yes. Alloys of metal, like brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. So that can act as a metal as well because it is a mixture of two metals. A hydrocarbon, no, covalent compound. A metal oxide, ionic compound. Ionic compounds can conduct electricity, but in the molten state, not in the solid state. A salt is an ionic compound, will conduct electricity in the molten state, but not in the solid state. So this makes option A the correct option for this question. Question 10. Which substance is an ionic compound? Ammonia. Ammonia is a covalent compound because covalent bonds are present between nitrogen and hydrogen. Calcium chloride, CaCl2. Ca2 positive and Cl negative ion. So this is an ionic compound. Ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid is a covalent compound. And hydrogen chloride, H and Cl has covalent bonding between them. So it's a covalent compound. This question asked for an ionic compound. So option B is the correct option for this question.